Hey guys, so today we are going to add and subtract radicals. So I'm going to skip the top part for this video. The answer key is on Canvas. So when you are adding and subtracting radicals, like the first bullet says, it says you can't add apples and oranges. You also can't combine unlike radicals. So to add radical terms, they have to be the same radicand, which is what's under the square root. So basically you have to have the same number under the root. So here on example number 1, both of these are the square root of 2. So since they are both the square root of 2, we're not going to mess with the house and the number. We're going to keep that the square root of 2, and then we're actually going to do the math on the front numbers. So it says 3 plus 2, so that's going to be a 5. On example number 2, inside we have a 5 and a 3. So this one actually cannot simplify anymore. So your final answer is just the exact same thing that they give you in the problem, because you cannot combine those radicals. Okay, so let's try some below. Okay, example number 4. We have a square root of 5 and a square root of 5. So since they match, we're going to bring down the square root of 5, and then we're going to do the math on the front numbers. Make sure you're following whatever sign is in between. So this one is addition. See if I can make that clearer for you guys. That one's addition, so it's going to be 4 plus 2 makes a 6. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try number 5 and number 6. Okay, so you should have paused the video by now, and you should have tried 5 and 6. So on number 5, we have the square root of 3 and the square root of 7. I cannot break root 3 up anymore, so we're done with root 3. And I can't break the square root of 7 up either, because only 7 is 7 times 1. So since these are not the same, these cannot be simplified. Those cannot combine, so that is just a square root of 3 plus the square root of 7. Okay, number 6, let's see number 6. So we have square root of 2, square root of 2, so those match. So bring that down, and then we have 6 plus 2 out front, which is 8. Now I know you're thinking these are super easy, but they do get a little bit harder, because this is when they're already simplified for you. Root 5, root 5, root 2, root 2, root 2, root 2. But down here, they're not. We have to do some work first. So it says adding and subtracting unlike radicals. Simply simplify to obtain the radicals, number under the square root, and then add or subtract. So you have to break down each of these first and then do the math. So 27. Two numbers that multiply to 27 are 3 and 9. 9 is 3 and 3. So that's the factor tree for 27. Let me get a different color highlighter. So remember, when we're doing these, we're looking at the bottoms of the tree. So looking at all of this, can we make a pair? Yes, I can make a pair. I can make a pair of 3s, and then I have a single 2. Remember, pairs come out, singles stay in. So the square root of 27 is actually 3 square root of 3. But we're not done, because we still have the square root of 12. So the square root of 12 can be broken down as 2 times 6, and 6 is 2 times 3. So again, we're looking at all the numbers on the bottom of the tree. So we have a 2, and a 3. So based off of these, I can make a pair of 2s, and I have a single 3. So the square root of 12 is actually 2 square root of 3. However, we forgot this minus sign, so you have to bring that down. When you bring that down, we have 3 square root of 3 minus 2 square root of 3. So again, when you're doing these, do your radicals match? Yes, now they match. Sometimes they won't match, and that's okay. After you've done all this work, you've still simplified them. So because they match, we are going to keep the square root of 3 and do the math on the front numbers. So 3 minus 2 gives you a 1. So this is 1 square root of 3. Or you can just write it as the square root of 3, whichever one you like better. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can break down example number 2, the square root of 45 and the square root of 20. So make your factor trees on these two and see if you can get the final answer. Okay, so this is the answer you should have gotten for example number 2. When you break down the square root of 45, you get 3 square root of 5. When you break down the square root of 20, you get 2 square root of 5. And then the root 5s match, so you add the front numbers. Okay, let's go to the back. So I want you to go ahead and try numbers 1 and 2. So pause this video, and when you have finished, unpause the video and we can check your answers. Okay, by now you should have done numbers 1 and 2, and we're going to go over those. So number 1 is 3 root 6 plus 3 root 6. The first thing I want to check is these square roots of 6, can they break down any more? Well, square root of 6 is 2 times 3, so those will not break down anymore. So since they don't break down anymore, we're just going to write the answer. We have the square root of 6, and then you're doing 3 plus 3 makes a 6. On number 2, I have the square root of 27 and 3. Well, 27 definitely breaks down, and 3 doesn't. So when you break down 27, you should get the 3 square root of 3. However, the 27 wasn't just the square root of 27, it was a negative square root. So you need to bring that guy down in front. Then we kind of forgot about the other piece. All of this work was just the 27. I also need to bring down this 2 square root of 3. Now you always have to check, can I add these together or am I finished? They are both square roots of 3, so you can add them together. Negative 3 plus 2 is a negative 1, so you can write it like this, or you can just write negative square root of 3. Remember, when you're doing these, you should not be using a big calculator like this. You should only be using a 4-function calculator, because if you're using a big one, you are it's just not good, because you're not gonna be able to use this one on the EOC. You'll get a 4-function calculator. So make sure you're practicing with this, because this does it for you and you won't be able to use this on the test or on your EOC. So please be practicing with the little one. That's all for this video for today.